Talking about a couple of things. And if you're ready for it, let's go. So, first off, I was thinking about this topic right here. And let me see. Let me switch out my. Hey. Let's talk about selfishness. I think that selfishness is one of the biggest things here in America. I'm an American, and I believe that selfishness is one of the things that has been perpetrated upon the American people, like to disproportionate amounts. People believe what the media says. They believe what everybody else says. We live in a society that is anti everything. They're anti masculinity, and you got to be selfless. You got to deny yourself. You got to deny what you think other people want you to believe, and believe the biblical patriarchy, the biblical femininity, the biblical this, that, and whatever. I mean, I could say it's common sense, but we live in a generation where it's not common sense. So, selfishness. Birth control is selfishness in every way. You don't see any woman of the Bible wanting to be on birth control, have less kids. They strive, they died for their children. That's selfless. That's denying yourself. So I'm just trying to get I'm going to try to get the word out to my people, my subscribers. They need to know the truth. Selfishness, birth control, selfishness. Living if you want to live the single life, praying unto God, that's great. But living the single life just for pleasure and not having children, not having as many children as you could possibly have. These things are selfish. And let me see, selfishness, and I mean, you got to think about your work. Are you selfish in your work? Are you going to work? Are you faithful? A lot of preachers. Hey, I got somebody watching finally. If you have a question about the Lord or the topic is selflessness, just post it in the comments. Let's go. So here we are. I'm talking about selflessness. I'm talking about following the Lord. And it's selfish to be on birth control. It's selfish to get an abortion. It's wrong. You gotta seek the Lord in all things. You can't. Most of you people need to, Charlie Kirk said it the best: have as many kids as you possibly can. It's a great thing. Women are meant to be baby making machines. Men are supposed to work till they die, and hopefully they can provide for their household. And it's definitely something that you can do here in America. So I'm an American. I want to talk to Americans. If you're from another country, nobody cares. God does, but we don't care on this live. I can't really read that comment, but I'll get to it a little bit. I'm talking about selfishness. I'm talking about selflessness. The Bible says to die to yourself. You got to die to yourself. You got to seek the Lord. You got to know who the Lord is. I'm going to pause this live real quick, and then I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so we're still on. I just read your comment. Yeah, America does need, I'm reading this comment, America does need a strong leader. I don't know if Brother Dean is ready to become a leader, just because I'm kind of extreme. You know, I'm not going to get the popular vote. And if you think Hitler was bad, Bro Dean is going to be way worse. So I think the population, I think people are waking up to the truth on both sides about the truth of where we're at and where we're going. And it's a great time to be alive. It's a great day to be extreme. You know, you got to love the Lord, have as many kids as you can, be selfless. I tell you to go to church, but nobody really, most evangelical churches and Christians are just kind of, they're lukewarm, they're lax. I think most churches just kind of destroy everything of what people are. They diminish, like, oh, you don't need to be like that, you don't need to be that hard. That's kind of extreme. There's this, there's that, and there's some wisdom in that. Some people are extreme, but you need to be mentored. You need to be selfless, and let's go back to the topic. Being selfless in this world. They put themselves first, and then they worship football. They put themselves first, and then they worship a woman, their girlfriend. They think that beauty is everything in a woman. And it's a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, but, she should have your culture. She should have your values. She should have, it's better to be with a 3 that has everything you want than a 10 that's going to wreck your life. Not going to have kids, be selfish, all of these just different things, I'm American, so American culture is important. I don't need, you don't want to look for some third world who hates guns, Democrat, socialist, crazy, whacked out, evil, pro-abortion. You got to deny your pleasure, because a lot of men, they look at pleasure first, and that's where the feminist is. The feminist will give you the pleasure at any moment and at any time. But the godly woman, the godly family, because you're choosing a family, you should get married for the family. You should live for God. You should live and pursue God in all that you do and all that you are. There's a lot to go over. And I almost wish we were on TikTok right now, because then I could accept other people to talk. But I will be creating another TikTok account sometime. My last one got tanked, which, I'm always getting tanked on everything, but especially when I start posting what I think. Because, people actually, the psyop of the modern day is thinking that somebody like, I don't know, I think a lot of the people that people look at, are just hollowed out shells of careless, nothing ever happens. Nobody ever really says anything that's going to change their own life. They're not really trying to change each other's lives. They're not really trying to change America. A lot of these podcasters, and I know I'm on YouTube and I'm talking, but I don't do a daily thing, and I could do a daily thing. I could teach every day, but the strength of action, the strength of doing something, self-discipline, being selfless for the Lord, contributing, being that light to those around you, being the truth bearer. There's so much truth around and nobody's really willing to stand up for any of it. You know, at most of these churches, you know, and I've gone to quite a few, most of these churches, it's very difficult to talk about evangelism, you know, and as a street preacher, evangelism is really the main thing that we do, the main thing that we love, the main thing that we want to do. And as a Christian, the power of God should be with you to go and evangelize and teach and minister and bring people to the Lord and pronounce God's judgment on people. Because God, the God of the Bible, is a God of hate, wrath. I mean, he does love people. He tolerates us for a season, and then he puts you in hell because you didn't respond to him. So, you know, you got to be within God's grace, and you got to fight for the Lord. But too many people here, they don't want to evangelize. They don't want to tell people. They don't want to preach. They just want to sit in their church and criticize guys like me. And that's fine. You can criticize me all you want. But what are you doing? You know? And I'll admit, like, I'm pretty extreme. Like, my ideas are pretty radical. But I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to be there. I'm trying to restore the patriarchy, which is a good thing. I'm trying to restore femininity, which is a good thing. I'm trying to, you know, make sure that people know God's calling for having children. God's calling for doing all these, you know, God's calling for your culture. God's calling for God's culture. God's calling for purity. You know, you should save yourself for marriage. Sex isn't just something that you throw out, you throw away, and you just, you give to anybody. You should marry the right person, you know? So these are just kind of some thoughts. I need to get back on TikTok or something. Just kind of be a better platform for this. Sometimes I go live on X, but it is what it is. Anyway, YouTube, it's been fun. I'll see you later. Bye.